All right, YouTube says we're live. It's 1:11 p.m. Central Time here. That just happened. June 15th on a Monday. I knew that. All the stuff that I had here on the phone. There we go. I guarantee you, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get any notifications out to you all simply because of the title. But I surely hope I do, because I got a few funny things to show you. I wouldn't say funny, just extremely hypocritical. All right. 50 seconds in, says we've got 4 in the house. I don't see anybody in the chat. All right. What's up, Jose? My brother, Sister Renee. Great to see you. Much love to you. Always praying for you. Fun day Monday. AB's in the house. AB, did you get a notification, or were you just surfing the web for what? It just jumped up to 18 people just now. So Karen Lynn, hey ya. Hiya, hey ya. I like hiya better. Lisa Pritchard, good evening. Well, wherever you live at, good evening to you. It's not even noon yet, but thank you for stopping in. Cincinnati Jack, good to see you, brother. Long time no see. Sister Diane Blues in the house. Oh, uh-oh. Brother AB, back in the house. Fish on, got a notification. Hey, AB, I know you're planning on going on this fishing trip, but you know what? If you can get a notification from Locked and Loaded 100%, shoot, that's like catching a marlin, because it's very rare. MH, aloha, everybody from Hawaii. Sister Josephine, great to see you. Good morning. I'm going to wait a few more minutes, please. If you get bored, just hang tight. Well, never mind. It just dropped from 20 down to 17. But I am going to be sharing some clips when it comes to Antifa and GHAZ, etc. U.S. Army brat, great to see you. Our beautiful sister in Christ, Army brat. Once again, when it comes to Army brat, her goal in life is to create a home for veterans that come home from war who are suffering from PTSD. I would say a halfway house, almost like a bed and breakfast, which I find extremely honorable. And we wish you the best of luck and pray for you on that one. Big time. I don't just say it, I mean it. Oh, look at that. We're down to 16. Brother Benny's in the house. Man, I can't say that. I don't even know how to read that. Oh, Appalachicola. Bang gun notification. Okay. You know how I read like a drunk 3-year-old. Brother Benny's in the house. Much love. God bless you. God bless you always. All right. We're going to be talking about GHAZ. We're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. We're going to be talking about Antifa and the sheer hypocrisy what's going on. Now, they've taken over 7 city blocks in Seattle, which we all know. Sup, brother man? What's up? Shawnee National Forest deplorable in the house. Great to see you. 420. Much love, brother. Long time no see. Fist bump to you. Bam. Great to see you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, a couple videos. Sister Diane Blues in the house. Dave Bentley, get your baby socialists out before you hear the rumble of the Harley Davidson. Boy, I tell you what. Bikers for Trump. When it comes to Antifa, when it comes to BLM, you all better watch out, because they're going to stomp a mud hole in your ass, and they don't give 2 shits. They're proud patriots. Most of them are veterans. They're not going to let a bunch of soy boy, glitter snorting, Play-Doh eating, crayon chewing, skinny jean wearing, whiteout huffing, living in mommy's basement sissies go ahead and take over our country. Not going to happen. So get your baby socialists out before you hear the rumble of the Harley Davidson motors. I love that. Thank you, brother, for that. All right, I'm going to start off real quick. Share screen. And me, my big mouth. I'll talk through it. But this is just, they want to talk about free speech. It's okay for Antifa and BLM and other far left, crazy communist libertards want to talk about free speech, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And their rights, and check out this young woman. This is only 15 minutes long. GHAZ Antifa man tells woman who she can talk to. Well, I guess when she showed up there, she made a huge mistake unknowingly. Okay, this is a female that went down there. She was going to be a part of the solution. She's going to be a part of GHAZ, that bullcrap where they took over 7 city blocks of Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to tell you all, it's only a matter of time before our military comes in and stomps a mud hole in your ass and puts you behind bars. Y'all think you're tough? I'll get to that here shortly. But listen to this.
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
My job is to nothing. No, I don't have a job at the moment. I actually quit my job to come and protest.
This is Fox, and we're not answering questions.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Who are you? What brings you here?
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
Look how free she is. Look how free she is. We're behind these barricades, etc., and we're free. We're hippies, modern day hippies. We're Antifa, etc. But guess what? You talk about being suppressed. You want to talk about, like Black Lives Matter being suppressed as back in the days of slavery.
My job is to nothing. No, I don't have a job at the moment. I actually quit my job to come and protest.
This is Fox, and we're not answering questions.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Who are you? What brings you here?
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
This is Fox, and we're not answering any questions. Boy, you want to talk about her being scared to death. I hope you all watch that. I have plenty more. Brother Brian Griffin's in the house. Much love. Yeah, it's a party. Sister Rhonda R's in the house. Chaz changed the name to Chop. Oh, now it's Chop. Ooh. Thank you for pointing that out, Sister Diane Blue. It's Chop. Wow. That's a whole lot more scary. Amos Black, what's shaking bacon? Good to see you, brother. Where'd you go? Oh, way up top there. The thing bounces up and down. All right. Now let's show the sheer hypocrisy. Okay, you saw where she was. Okay, she's with the Chad, or now the CHOP organization, where that's a form of fascism right there, you idiots. You freaking far left libtards, where you take away freedom of speech, this and that, yada, yada, yada. That's fascism. Okay? And you guys are anti-fascism. A woman goes to speak to a reporter who just showed up there, and then they walk over to her and say, you're not allowed to talk to the press, this and that, blah, blah, blah. That means you don't have any rights. You don't have free speech. You don't have the right to talk to the press. You basically, and I feel sorry for that woman, and I hope she gets the hell out of there as soon as possible. So let me see if I'm going to have to jump. Let me jump on here. See if I can share. I'm okay. I'm going to share screen again. And we're going to talk once again, when it comes to Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the hypocrisy. You remember when Trump said he was going to build the wall? I'm going to build the wall. All right. Pray for this young woman. I'm going to play this one more time. All right. This just goes to show you what actually true fascism is. All right. They think that they own this place. They honestly think that they're going to create a new governor or government now, and they ran out of food in a day and a half.
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
My job is to nothing. No, I don't have a job at the moment. I actually quit my job to come and protest.
This is Fox, and we're not answering questions.
Oh, right.
This is Fox, and we're not answering questions. Da, da, da. All right. Now look how nervous she is once he goes to ask her another question.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Who are you? What brings you here?
Oh, it's good.
She doesn't know what to say. You know why? If you ask me, she's pretty terrified. She doesn't know what to say. You know why? Oh. If you ask me, she's pretty terrified. Oh, thank you, YouTube, for making my voice sound like a robot. All right, so let's go to another clip here. Turn this down. Come on now. Let's see if I remember how to do this. All right, let's go back to history. Is my face all blurred out like that? Probably. If my face is going to be all blurred out, that's just that's what's going to happen. All right. Well, let's go to President Trump.
We're going to have strong, incredible borders, and people are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built. It's not even, believe it or not, it's not even a difficult thing to do. And by the way, for the...
Listen to that. Listen to that one more time.
Going to have strong, incredible borders, and people are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built. It's not even, believe it or not, it's not even a difficult...
All right, so you get the gist of that. We all know President Trump's been working on the wall, along with the Army Army Corps of Engineers, etc. So now let's go back to, if I can find it. Here we go. Listen to this protest here against the wall. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, etc.
Hundreds of
No ban, no wall protest.
people are protesting President Trump's border wall in downtown Austin. They gathered for the No Ban, No Wall rally on the south steps of the state capitol. They say the president's policies are hurting Latino and Muslim families and should be stopped. We talked with one of the speakers. He came to the U.S. illegally as a child and is now in college.
The crime problems of, separation are still going to exist. It's just easy to blame somebody, a group. It's been obviously done throughout history too. It's easy to blame other people that you don't understand for problems that you also don't understand.
President Trump plans on signing a new travel ban next week, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection plans to start building the wall.
Ban, wall, fear, hate. No ban, no wall, no fear, yada, yada, yada. Completely haven't, I'll just play it, finish it off.
April. After their defeat last November,
Yeah, you'll rise up, all right. All right, let me see here. Okay, now, okay, you see all those Antifa members, the far left, all the hippies talking about walls, not building walls, etc. And no, I can't see anybody's messages right now because my screen's all filled up. But let's go back here to an interview with the leader of GHAZ, Black Lives Matter. Let me rewind it here. This is the leader, GHAZ leader.
You guys guarding
Jeez.
this section of the building? I see the gate coming up and down behind you.
That we're protecting the precincts so that nobody gets inside. That's what we're doing.
Gotcha. Trying to keep everybody out.
Yeah, we don't want people to run inside the building.
You don't want police officers to run outside the building?
Now, can you all hear him speak? Not the reporter, but the Black Lives Matter leader. Can you hear him speak? If you can, press 1, please, if you don't mind. I'm looking at my phone now. I'll hit play some more.
You don't want people around here.
We don't want no people at all.
Do you, is it okay if I film this? I'm with the news now. I don't want to. Okay. So you don't want anybody at all inside the building?
No people, because right now everyone's having conversations with the mayor and all that stuff. The way that she's talking is that she's probably going to give this to the community. But right now we're just being respectful, not going up in there, falling into a trap in a narrative of
Oh, what did he say? Well, basically, they're protecting the area because they don't want any thugs breaking in. To me, that sounds like a form of a border wall and border patrol. What you're so against, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and a whole bunch of other far left libertarians. We do not want people, thugs, etc., busting in. So they're guarding the section, all the areas around the block, etc. And they have fences and barricades, their own wall.
Gotcha. So why is the gate coming up and down?
They're probably playing with us.
Okay.
Trying to trick us into doing what they want us to do.
Gotcha. What's the end game here, guys?
Keep the peace and unity, honestly. That's it. We're gonna keep pushing that, bro. It's nothing but that.
There was a list of demands that came out today. Is that once those are...
Keep the peace and unity after destroying and burning down buildings state by state, many people being beaten, a lot of people that were killed. But we just want to keep the peace and the unity as we build our own wall and take over 7 city blocks in Seattle, Washington. Sounds pretty peaceful to me. That's almost like a freaking Disney story.
adhered to once those come out? Is that when everybody leaves, or is this we plan to be here forever kind of deal?
Well, so I think a few different organizations have different demands, and no one speaks for everyone, but everyone's trying to get together. Everyone's upset we all came here in unity, just over the fact that cops need accountability. It shouldn't be that you have a badge and you can kill whoever you want with no repercussions.
9 men and 1 female were killed last year in 2019. More white men, more unarmed white men were killed. Accidents do happen. Do we have bad cops? Yes. Do we have good cops? Absolutely. Do the good cops override the bad cops? Absolutely. Okay. Do they talk about Chicago, black on black crimes? You know how many people have been killed since this? I think it's 60 African Americans have been shot and killed within the last week or 2. Do your own study if you want. I'm not search for it, but that's what I heard. Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Al Sharpton, his skinny, bony ass on walking down the streets of Chicago? He's nowhere to be found because he's not stupid. He's not going to walk the streets of Chicago where all the gangs are. He don't want to get shot and killed. Man, enough with his shit.
You don't even get fired or tried as a regular person and charged. definitely don't get convicted. The community, from what I hear from most people, is that the community wants to reclaim this, just kind of symbolically reclaim it and have it be something that's more positive than what it's been. So I mean, there's a few things like that that are going around. But this is the time when everyone comes out with their different ideas that might be great or might be different agendas or whatever, and and then everyone tries to put it together and figure it out as a community. So it's one of those just like waiting games, being patient. It's just kind of like, okay, now we're here. Now let's wait for the dialogue. Let's get dialogue.
Now we're here. Now let's depend on the government to feed us because we ran out of food in a day and a half. We stormed all these buildings, not peacefully, and we ran out a bunch of officers that aren't even, I guarantee you, 80% of them aren't even liberal, but they are told to stand down. You know how many police officers have already resigned and laid down their guns and their badges because they're tired of this, and they do not want to be put in a situation that they have to protect themselves because somebody has a gun or they're bashing their head in with a freaking baseball bat. If they were to pull their service weapon and shoot that person, if he just happened to be black, that officer could be facing time. So guess what? You got officers around the United States right now, every day, dropping their badge, dropping their gun, service gun, etc., on their captain's desk and say, you know what? I can't do this. I resign. This is this is not constitutional, but I'm not taking the chance of protecting my life because I want to go home and see my son or daughter, my wife. But they're making the laws so stringent. And it's time for Trump. I'm a Trump supporter. He needs to tighten up quick, tighten up fast. They need to take Delta forces and everything and go right through this little area and take all these little soy sipping, freaking Play-Doh eating whack jobs and bend them over, tie them up, spank them, and throw them behind bars.
That's pretty much where it is for me. Getting dialogue, do my part right now, and just trying to keep it together.
Is the plan to take over other precincts or to surround other precincts, or is it more we're good here, the message has gotten out, that's what we're doing?
Like I said, I can't speak for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what everyone else is about, but it was just trying to send a message and get a discussion going and have accountability held because we just don't have any right now. So that's that. No one wants.
Hey, you got to give the guy credit. He made a jacket out of a couple trash bags and some probably some pillow stuffing. But anyways, let me go to a different one. He just talks the same crap. But that's the leader right there. So they have armed guards around the 7 square block district. They're building barricades. They're using barricades that the police officers use to build a wall to keep others out. Now, since I said that, they're building a wall, a perimeter to keep others out. Let that stick in your brain for one more second. Let me go back real quick. It's only a minute long.
Okay. Billy is like.
Yeah, I don't know who you are.
Hundreds of people are protesting President Trump's border wall in downtown Austin. They gathered for the No Man, No Wall rally on the south steps of the state capitol. They say the president's policies are hurting Latino and Muslim families and should be stopped. We talked with one of the speakers. He came to the U.S. illegally as a child and is now in college.
The problems of crime, problems of separation are still going to exist. It's just easy to blame somebody, a group, It's been obviously done throughout history too. It's easy to blame other people that you don't understand.
I
for
agree
problems
with
that-
him to a point, and I agreed with Sister Queen. Unfortunately, racism will never, ever, ever end in the United States and globally. It's a great fairy tale, this and that, and it would be great if everybody got along, but it's just never going to happen. It's just the way it is. And, it's sad, but, like Chris Rock said, you want to know who the most racist man in the world is an old black man. And I'll tell you a little, one of his stand-up shows. He's like, a white man walks by and he's like, "Hey, sir, how you doing, sir?" "Yes, sir." "Would you like your shoes polished, sir?" And the white man walks by and he's like, "Pardon my French, fucking cracker. Oh, cracker ass motherfucker. I hate you, cracker. I hate you, cracker." Another white man comes by. "Hey, how you doing, sir? How you doing, sir? It's a beautiful day, sir." And it's the same with blacks and whites and, Asians, this and that. Unfortunately, racism is here to stay. I hate to tell everybody that, and it's sad, but it is the truth. Not everybody's going to wake up one day and be like, "Oh, man, I don't dislike Mexicans," or, "Oh, man, I don't dislike white people. Oh, man, I don't dislike this," yada, yada, yada. All right, here's a funny one, though. See if I can find it. Interview with Seattle GHAZ security member. Y'all get a kick out of this. Make sure I pause it in time. What the hell is this? See the type of advertising they get? That's disgusting, man. I don't want to see that. Now I'm sick to my stomach.
And also,
all right, everybody, I want to introduce you to Seattle GHAZ security team member. Check this guy out. There's a difference between disliking and being racist. Well, a lot of people believe that if you just dislike a culture or whatever, you're racist. That's what I mean by racism. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, whatever your color, white people that are walking side by side with Black Lives Matter and stuff outside of that picket, if they're not marching with them, if they get separated, guess what? They're racist white people. Unfortunately, in a perfect world, yeah, no racism would be great. It's just not going to happen. I hate to say it. Oh, real quick. This is an interview once again with Seattle GHAZ security team member, the one on the left. How old is that kid? 12?
Hello, folks. I'm here with Sam Shipman, and he's part of the security team at the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone in Seattle. It's been getting quite a bit of attention.
That kid hasn't even got his first zit yet.
So, Sam, why don't you introduce yourself, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, who you are, and then we'll get into what's going on there in Seattle.
yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for taking the time to have this interview. But yeah, my name's Sam Shipman. I've been helping.
All right, brother Mike Brian Griffin. We are of the human race, but different ethnic groups. Racist don't exist unless you hate humans. Well, unfortunately, there are so many racist people out there that hate different colors, etc. Am I saying I'm racist? No, I'm just saying, unfortunately, do you ever truly see racism come to an end until our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ comes? I don't. But here you go. Here's the security team for Antifa right here.
Assist a variety of different organizations with the security at the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone or Capitol Hill Autonomous District, depending on who you talk to. It's being primarily led by the left-wing organization in the U.S., the John Brown Gun Club. And essentially what the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone is, it's a 6-block area around the Seattle Police Department's East Precinct in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle. There have been protests and clashes with police going on.
I agree with you big time, Sister Rhonda. Racism is taught. You're not born racist. You're taught hate. You're taught this and that. You're absolutely right.
On there for weeks related to the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And the mayor of Seattle, Jenny Durkin, and the Seattle police chief made the decision to evacuate the Seattle Police East Precinct, apparently because they were afraid of officers being injured in demonstrations as they continue to get more and more violent.
Wait till SEAL Team 6 and a whole bunch of badass Marines come in when you all are sleeping, listening to your bedtime story, whoever's reading it, and they come in and snatch you by your necks and throw you behind bars, because that's what's coming.
And as police became more and more fatigued after weeks and weeks of demonstrating, from the security side of it, what has essentially happened is the police barricades have been reappropriated and reused essentially to help protect the.
Leah Lamb, I'm Hispanic and an immigrant. I suffered from racism twice in this country by blacks for being white. Well, I get accused from African Americans, blacks, for being white myself, but I'm pretty much Native American, so I get it. But once again, racism, it's just never going to end, because you're going to have race baiters like Al Sharpton, like Jesse Jackson, all these different people that, and it's funny now, Netflix is starting to put out all these documentaries, old documentaries. They're bringing them up again about how the black people were treated so terribly in these prisons, etc., which is true. But why are they putting out all this stuff now, all new? And they're throwing clips of these riots now that are going on and that were happening in Minnesota, Los Angeles, and stuff. Now these were, documentaries that are like 10 years old, and they're throwing in clips of the riots that were just happening last week. They're trying to stir the pot, create a racial war, more and more civil unrest and division. It's all perfectly planned out for the global leaders.
This 6-block area, and one, ensure that radical far right organizations like the Proud Boys have been unable to gain access, and also to ensure.
Hold on, I think he talks about building a wall type structure here.
From the security side of it, what has essentially happened is the police barricades have been reappropriated and reused essentially to help protect this 6-block area, and one, ensure that radical far right organizations like the Proud Boys have been unable to gain access.
Do you see the sheer hypocrisy in this when they talk about no walls, no borders, all this stuff? But when it comes to them taking over 7 blocks of Seattle, a police precinct, they want structure built around them to protect them. You know what that is? That's a fucking wall. Pardon my French, but that's a wall. You idiot libertards. You delusional. You want to bash Trump. You want to bash conservatives for wanting a wall to protect our country and to keep the number of immigrants that are coming through here illegally and the ones that are smuggling drugs in. You want open borders, but you want walls around you in that police precinct and around your 7-block radius. Y'all are a bunch of dumb, hypocrite, glitter snorting freaking morons. If any of you all agree with me, please press 1. Does that not make sense? They protest no walls, no borders, no da. But now what do they want around where they're stationed at, the 7-block radius? They want walls. I'm going to play it again, not to annoy you all, but it's so true.
From the security side of it, what has essentially happened is the police barricades have been reappropriated and reused essentially to help protect this 6-block area and ensure that radical far right organizations like the Proud Boys have been unable to gain access, and also to ensure that just general what you could essentially describe as lone wolf attackers haven't been able to gain access. The idea of setting up security actually came after there was an attack against the demonstrations at Cal Anderson Park, where
would that be anything similar to the attacks that you have done on peaceful protests for Trump supporters or protests with veterans, etc., when all you little hoodlums, you Antifa whack jobs came in with sticks and bats and all that and beat up old veterans, beat up women, beat up children? So now you see what it's like to be on the other side of the spectrum. I hope that you all are scared every single night as long as you're there. If you hear a noise when you're laying on the ground, knowing you ain't taking a shower because they're cutting the water or electric off soon if they haven't done it already. Just knowing one day, guess what? You're going to be sound asleep after you've meditated and you said some kind of hippie crap, did a big old line, snorted a big old line of glitter, smoked you a big old fat bowl, you fell asleep, and then boom, next thing you know, here come the Marines. Here come Delta Force. Here come this and that. And they beat the living snot out of you, handcuff you, drag you, throw you into these buses, and haul you off to jail where you don't get bonded. And then guess what? Bonded out. Then you spend many, many years in prison. You think it's tough being where you're at right now? You need protection right now? Yeah, wait till you go to prison. Cute little boy like you with no zits on his face, you sure would make a purty boyfriend. Oh, Bubba'd love to have that ass.
A motorist drove his car into the demonstrations, got out, and proceeded to shoot one of the protesters. So at this point right now,
go back and watch that video. That's not how that happened anyways. But I don't condone violence and shooting people.
The defenses there are, like I said, it's the Seattle Police Department's barricades that they had set up to try and actually stop the demonstrators from gaining access to the East Precinct, as well as members of the community in Seattle actually bringing their vehicles and using those as barricades to help stop other cars from being able to ram into people there.
Well, let me ask you, Donald Trump tweeted out that domestic terrorists have taken over Seattle. I mean, based on your assessment of events on the ground, is he anywhere close to the truth?
Not at all. It's really
oh no, we're peaceful. We only beat up old veterans. We only push little old ladies out of their chairs. We yank the American flag out of veterans' hands. We throw them down on the ground. We light them on fire, the flags. We beat the crap out of women and children. We hold meetings all the time on how we can create civil unrest, yada, yada, yada. But oh no, Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. We're peaceful.
A far stretch to be able to call it anything close to any kind of domestic terrorism, because there is just absolutely no trace of terror happening there. What you're
no trace of terrorism, no trace. Now, so that 70-year-old veteran who's in a wheelchair is getting pummeled and kicked in the face by a bunch of masked Antifa members. You don't think he's terrified women and children getting punched in the face. You don't think they're terrified? That's what terrorism feels like. That's where you're terrified. You don't know if you're going to live or die. A group of masked men and women come at you, throwing bottles, throwing urine, hitting you with all kinds of stuff, throwing rocks in your face. There's no sign of terrorism or terrorist activity. Let's listen to this one more time.
Anywhere close to the truth?
Not at all. It's really a far stretch to be able to call it anything close to any kind of domestic terrorism, because there is just absolutely no trace of terror happening there.
No trace of terror. They just run around and hug people. That's all y'all do. Just hug people, kiss them on the forehead. That's all you do.
What you're
Yeah,
seeing
I mean, I
is
have the video. My friend Desiree Deloach, she's out there. She took us around. She showed us people lining up to get free pizza. She showed us people spray painting a little bit, people beating on drums, like a vigil space set up in memory of George Floyd and the people who've been killed throughout the protests. Where are they getting this terrorism angle? I guess you were saying there were some violent demonstrations or something. Is that what they're getting at? What's the deal?
So there was very briefly, for about one night, there were violent demonstrations, and violence in the term of violence against property. There were no violence against Seattle police officers. There were no violence against the residents of Seattle.
So I guess throwing rocks and bottles of urine in the faces of police officers or whatever. No, you were just beating up property and you were tearing down property. It's just so hypocritical. This goes on for 21 minutes if you all want to check it out. The name of it is Interview with Seattle GHAZ Security Team Member. Yeah, security. I would knock you out on accident, put you to sleep for a good 5-10 minutes, make you shit your pants. All right, hit the wrong button. Laugh out loud until, yeah. Okay, say hey to everybody. Still got 29 in the house. Well, we got a lot of ones on that. Because they want to do as they please on behalf of their masters. Yep, Soros. Yep, George Soros, Grandpa Soros. Yeah, let me pay your bills there. Let me, George Soros, the Clinton Foundation, all this stuff. George Soros has been paying Antifa, and don't let your guard down. Now, if George Soros is willing to pay all this money for these soy sipping, Play-Doh eating, crayon chewing little libtards and Black Lives Matter, I guarantee you George Soros has some very heavy hitters on his payroll. And I'm talking ex-military. I'm not saying from here, but some snipers, etc. He's got some big wigs on his payroll. Don't think that Antifa is nothing but cannon fodder. They're collateral damage, and they think they're making a difference. How can the boys say there's no terrorism in that? That's all basically it's all basically these people have all out war against anything and everything. Sorry, I gotta tell you something that they can tear up and destroy. That's all they know is terrorism, and they get a kick out of it. It's complete sheer hypocrisy. And once again, I hate to do this to you all because I'm going to hop off here. And I strongly urge you all to, okay, they're locked and loaded now. Okay, but I guarantee you they didn't think of one thing. Just like they didn't think of food. They didn't think of this. Okay? They didn't think of ammo. They probably got a couple boxes from Walmart, Soros is punk. Soros is a piece of garbage. If you don't know who George Soros is by now, he was during the Holocaust a Jewish punk who helped round up the Jews so they could be sent to Jewish camps and slaughtered. He's garbage. He's a minister of Satan by all means. All right. I'll just show a couple quick hypocrisy. I'm just going to show, pardon me, when it comes to Trump talking about the wall, and then Antifa and all them protesting against the wall. And you just saw how this place called GHAZ, somebody said they changed the name to CHOP. So lame. All right. Okay, here we go.
We're going to have strong, incredible borders, and people are going to come into our country, but they're going to come into our country legally. They're going to come in legally. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
All right, you hear that? Now we want to hear this.
Hundreds of people are protesting President Trump's border wall in downtown Austin. They gathered for the No Ban, No Wall rally on the south steps of the state capitol. They say the president's policies are hurting Latino and Muslim families and should be stopped. We talked with one of the...
All right, I'm just shorting these up real quick. No wall. No wall. Yeah, no wall. Go Antifa. Go BLM. Go all these other people. But real quick, let's go back to the interview with
some Seattle Police Department.
This 12-year-old little whatever the hell he is.
Vehicles and using those as barricades to help stop other cars from being able to ram into people there.
Okay, let's talk about what is he discussing building a wall around
General, what you could essentially describe as lone wolf attackers haven't been able to gain.
I don't remember where he said this.
From the security side of it, what has essentially happened is the police barricades have been reappropriated and reused essentially to help protect this 6-block area and ensure that radical far right organizations like the Proud Boys have been unable to gain access, and also to ensure that just general what you could essentially describe as lone wolf attackers haven't been able to gain access. The idea of setting up security actually came after there was an attack against the demonstrations at Cal Anderson Park, where a motorist drove his car into the demonstrations, got out, and proceeded to shoot one of the protesters. So at this point right now, the defenses there are, like I said, it's the Seattle Police Department's barricades that they had set up to try and actually stop the demonstrators from gaining access to the East Precinct, as well as members of the community in Seattle actually bringing their vehicles and using those as barricades to help stop other cars from being able to ram into people there.
Well, let me ask you.
Now, does that sound like a wall? Once again, if you believe that sounds like a wall, and if you're still in here, if you could press 1. Press the number 1. If that sounds like building a wall to protect yourself from outsourced enemies. Give me a friggin' break. Absolutely. Stay safe. Always locked and loaded. Wow, that's a lot of ones. Look at that. That's a lot of ones. Thank you all. I just wanted to show the sheer hypocrisy. Brother Mark Brandon, bam with the 1. Sister Josephine, bam with the 1. Brother Benny, bam with the 1. Scott, I can't say your last name, bam with the 1. Laura, bam with the 1. Sister Andrea, bam with the 1. Leah Lamb, bam with the one. Sister Diane Blue, bam with the one. One's up and down the board. That is what you call a wall. But you want to protest against the wall that Trump is building. No wall, blah, 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 blah. Open borders, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, it's easy to say it. But now you all are up in this little community. Don't know how to, if you want to see something funny, go back and watch some of the videos of the gardens they planted. Holy cow. I guarantee you a blind man in a wheelchair missing both his hands could plant a better garden than these Antifa members. And Black Lives Matters created their own garden. And flat out in one of the signs it says this garden is only for Black Lives Matter. That kind of sounds racist, doesn't it? Kind of like back in the day when only whites could drink out of this fountain, this and that. I'm totally against racism. I hate it. It's never going to change, though. Might get better, but I seriously doubt it. But anyways, thank you all for hanging out and listening. And I wanted to definitely bring this to a lot of y'all's attention. And I'm sure everybody knows. But, you know, maybe you can share this to a family member. Share this to a family member that thinks that, oh, they're not doing nothing wrong and blah, 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 blah. You know, show them the sheer hypocrisy. You know, it's ridiculous. Just got back. What is the one for? MH. Well, at least you put the one down. Basically, a bunch of these Black Lives Matter and Antifa members are talking about they use the same barricades that the police used to keep them out, and now they are barricading the 7-block area, or they're barricading around this police precinct because they're trying to keep the bad guys out from hurting them and attacking them. But it was okay for them to have mass riots and protests about President Donald Trump building the wall along Mexico to keep the drugs out, to keep, you know, mass migration out, etc. So they're just hypocrites. It's all hypocritical. And there is going to be that day, that night, whenever, that the Marines, Navy SEALs are going to come in and they're going to take over, and they're going to lock a lot of people up, and they're going to lock them up for a long, long time. Can't have open borders if these people can't sustain in this country without aid from the government. You got that right. I mean, a day and a half later, after they made this GHAZ community, they were tweeting out how hungry they were and they needed food because they said the homeless people stole it. What about Ebony Magazine and all the likes? Fascist. What they're doing is fascist. Let me go. This is what one more time. This is if you hadn't come in, and this is a like 15-second long video. And they talk about anti-fascism. You want to talk about lack of free speech? And just if you can see the fear in this, I guess this girl probably thought she was going to go do something good, help the government or whatever. And Lord only knows what's going to happen to her. Oh, and like I said yesterday, they said that the assault, rape, and theft has gone up 300% in the last few days since it started.
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
My job is to nothing. No, I don't have a job at the moment. I actually quit my job to come and protest.
Mrs. Fox, and we're not answering questions.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mrs. Foxen, we're not answering any questions. We got Dr. Thunder Glitterlord here in his stupid outfit. Looks like he's going trick-or-treating, coming over telling her, no, basically you're not allowed to speak to the press. That's fascism.
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
My job
Oh,
is...
he's even got horns on his little helmet. What a dork.
To nothing. No, I don't have a job at the moment. I actually quit my job to come and protest.
This is Fox, and we're not answering questions.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Who are you? What brings you here?
Oh, it's good.
What's your job?
Oh, King Thundernuts. I bet your mom and dad are so proud there. What an idiot. I wouldn't wear that if you paid me $2 million. All it does is look like a freaking Halloween costume from Big Lots. No offense to anybody that buys their Halloween costumes from Big Lots. But anyways, thank you for watching. Fear no man, never fear death. Get right with God, fight the good fight, and always stay locked and loaded. And please say a prayer for these people, these young youth that got caught up in the mix, that thought that this was going to be, just some great revolution, or just like back in the days when the hippies, they didn't create any problems. They were running around the fields with flowers and stuff. They weren't fighting. They weren't armed. Pray for those souls, like that young woman. If you watch that video over again, there's a split second you can see fear in her eyes. She came there to thinking she was going to do something right, and guess what? If you ask me, she's pretty much a hostage if they don't let her go. Thank you for being here, Brother Justin. No problem, Sister Josephine. Much love. I hope so, Justin. Lock him up. Then go for Soros. Globalists need to. Yep. Soros needs to be taken out. He must have sold his soul to the devil, because he's got to be about 180 years old. I mean, he looks like a. Oh, I ain't even gonna go there. He looks like you know how your skin gets all wrinkly when you swim for a couple hours? Try swimming for 20 years in salt water, just floating along. That's kind of what he reminds me of. His skin's all just floppy, droopy, his face, and he's just disgusting. Anyways, much love. Thank you all for watching this live stream, and pray for one another. Pray for my daughter as well, please. Haven. Fear no man, never fear death. Once again, get right with God, fight the good fight, and always stay locked and loaded. Keep your head on a swivel and take care of your neighbors. Sister Magic Angel, great to see you. Came in just a minute too late. I'm out of here. So, yeah, 57 minutes we've been on here. So, yeah, I know it always happens that way. I'm sorry. Much love. God bless. Later.